Hello and welcome to the Epic Marketing Show. Today we're going to be talking all about decision making, how it's made and how it impacts your marketing. I hope you've got a nice big cup of tea because we're covering quite a lot and there is a little bit of science in here. Today I've got some green tea actually with mango and lychee to keep me nice and sharp, so make sure you've got something to fortify yourself. So what Daniel Kahneman showed was that we have two systems of thinking, and this helps account for some of the odd things that we do when it comes to making decisions. Effectively, these systems are just called System 1 and System 2. Now, there is a big difference between these two systems, and it's predominantly in the way that they work. So System 1 is our fast and automatic system. It's the one that we use to make mental shortcuts. Whereas System 2 is much slower and it's manual. System 2 is what we use when we're doing stuff like algebra or thinking about really complex stuff. System 1 is also incredibly slow learning, which means habits are hard to form and hard to break. System 1 is what's responsible for you getting stuck in a rut when it comes to habits. It's in part why doing things like quitting smoking are really difficult. It's a psychological habit as well as the physiological addiction. System 2, on the other hand, is flexible. System 2 allows you to apply everything that you've learned in your mind to very complex problems, and it's what sets humans apart from the rest of the animal kingdom. Now, the difficulty is that System 1, we can kind of say, although it's the autopilot, it hogs the brain. System 1 is fast, it's quick, and it's nimble, and it's fast, quick, and nimble because it uses mental shortcuts, most often called heuristics, as well as some cognitive biases. System 2, on the other hand, is incredibly effortful. It uses huge amount of processing power to actually kick it into gear. It's why when you're doing exams and you're studying a lot, you get really hungry because you're losing actually quite a lot of energy in your brain at that point in time. So the biggest difference between the two systems is how much information they can take in per second. Because System 2 is so effortful and requires so much cognitive capacity, it can only actually take in 40 bits per second. It's not a lot in the grand scheme of things when we think about how much is going on around us at all points in time. However, System 1, because of its capability of using mental shortcuts, can take in a whole 11 million bits per second. That's a massive difference. System 1 is only capable of taking so much information in because of the mental shortcut capability. Whereas this 40 bits per second, if we were totally reliant on our System 2 to get out of the house in the morning, it would never happen. Just think about how many decisions you make intuitively just getting out of the door. That's your System 1 helping you in the mornings, especially if you're as bad in the mornings as I am. So let's talk about why this is something you need to pay attention to when it comes to your marketing. What we need to understand is that we are making most of our decisions on a day-to-day basis with System 1. That means we're using really quick mental shortcuts. Let's take driving for example. When you're first learning how to drive, it's massively effortful. You're learning a brand new habit. Once you figure it out, it moves over to System 2. Although System 2 is a lot slower to learn how to do it, it eventually becomes automatic, to the point now where if you're an established driver, you hardly even think about what you're doing, especially if you're using gears. And it's also why sometimes you just end up at a certain place even when you didn't intend to drive there, because your autopilot has enabled. Secondarily, let's take maths as another example. So with maths, when you did your timetables at school, they were really kind of drummed into your head. And for people who are good at times tables, people can shout out random numbers and you'll be able to shout them back. However, if you do algebra, it's very slow and very effortful because you have to think about the different combinations of those numbers and how they would work out. Let's take a look at how System 1 and System 2 will directly affect your marketing and the way you get your business out there. Marketing isn't performing in general as well as it used to, and that is certainly true for the old advertising and interruption advertising. Now, what I mean by that is that people disregard adverts and banner ads without even remembering that they've seen them. Think about the last banner ad that you saw. Can you remember what it was? Chances are when you pop something into Google, probably a couple of days ago, whatever search engine you use, you would have seen some adverts. Except we don't remember what they are. System 1 is starting to learn how to filter that kind of advertising out. So we can say that that mental shortcut is now going, okay, I don't want to bother System 2 with this information because it's too effortful, so I'm just going to filter it out because it's not relevant to what we're looking for. That means that your advertising spend is probably being wasted, and that's because the majority of people, their System 1 has kicked in. It's slow learning, but it's figured out that that information may not be of use to them. So we can relegate banner ads to being filtered out by System 1. So it's really important to make sure that you are kicking your customers into System 2 so that they can make a decision based on all the information they have available, and that it's not filtered out by System 1 before they've even had a chance to really understand what your offer is. How do we go about doing this? Well, it's really hard to kickstart System 2 when System 1 doesn't want it. It's much easier to get the attention of System 2 when someone is already using it. The best way to do this is via search. When someone is in the moment for searching for something, they're already making an effort to understand that problem. That's when you need to pounce. So, my suggestion is that you make sure that you capture people when they are in moments of using System 2. Thankfully, it's not as hard as it sounds, and what that really means is creating content specifically for when people are searching for solutions to certain problems. So we can add moments of search into the System 2 column, and that's where you want to be spending your time. It's very hard to get System 1 to kickstart System 2. It's much easier to capture people whilst they are in System 2 and then get them to use the full capacity of their brain to think about the solution to their problem and how you fit in. So that's an overview of how we make decisions. If you have any questions or any comments, pop them in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't done so already, hit subscribe. Until next time, go forth and be epic.